Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through my favorite products of 2018. Let's start off with the quad that might be the quad of the year, at least in the micro arena. That's where I specialize, that's what I do. You won't see any 4 or 5 inch quad products in this video today. But possibly the product of the year is the Mobula 7. However you might feel about the frame, this product has become wildly popular and it flies really well. This is one of the first products we've seen imported at such a rate from a Far East or Chinese manufacturer right into the mainstream. I think just about every hobby shop has their finger on the pulse of quads, is importing these to sell them in their market. I know we've got 4 or 5 vendors here in North America that are importing these at the pace that they can get them, and they're going out the door. We see pre-orders going up almost every day on Facebook. So this is a product that I think would have to lead the way. And if you don't have one, you might want to try to get one. Of course, I'll have links to everything I show you, as always, down in the video description below. I did have one question recently about how you see those. If you're on a tablet or on a desktop, it might be different. If you're on the desktop, you want to click the words below that say show more, and that will expand the video description and you'll be able to see more of what's in there. If you're on a tablet, I believe you scroll down on the mobile view and then you can see the video description a little bit more as well. But this is product 1. Now let's go to the 1S brushless hoop of the year. And that, of course, would be the TinyHawk. The really good performer. I think the only downside of the TinyHawk is that turtle mode doesn't currently work, but there's an update coming for that. Not an update, but a new product coming for that in the form of a new propeller. They've got a 4-bladed propeller that they've designed that I've seen several videos on Facebook that Emax has released where turtle mode seems to work just fine. And this is 1S, and it's been a very popular product as well. I think many would say that this could contend as the product of the year, and I couldn't necessarily make a strong case against you. I just see a lot more of the Mobula 7 pre-orders and people asking where they can get them in stock quickly. But this little product deserves its own day in the sun, and I think the Emax TinyHawk, they did a good job on it. It flies great, very durable, much more durable than the Mobula 7. We see that these little spindly things get broken, and you can repair those up and however you like. Of course, I use welder, but if one's broken completely off and it's gone, you may have to use some other source. But another very good product. It has many different sources that you can purchase from. Next up is our 2.5-inch quad of the year. You'll notice that the 2-inch quad of the year does not appear because I really feel that that is a very specific case. A 2-incher, while they can be a lot of fun, you're really looking for something specifically in that category, because once you move to 2.5-inch, the performance and the flight characteristics completely change. So I encourage most people that are looking at a 2-inch, unless it's something very specific you're looking for, that you look at the 2.5-inch. And my product of the year is, of course, the SkyStars X120. They have an updated version of this one. Looks like they may have improved the flight stack and they've used a different camera, but we have not seen that yet. And of course, as the case with any video, I may see something yet at the end of this year. You know, we only have, what, 2.5, 3 weeks left of the year. There could be a breakthrough product, but at this point, I think it's fairly unlikely. But this is a 4S quad, and it runs like a scalded dog. I have not yet found anything that performs as well as this in the 2.5-inch category. The only shortcoming it really has is the VTX does not have smart audio capabilities, but otherwise it's awesome. Next up is our 3-inch quad of the year, and I give it to the HeliFar X140. Now, we've seen a few others come out, but this one, at the price point it's been at, is very, very hard to beat for flight performance and feature set. This one has the LEDs, it has the buzzer, it has 32-bit ESCs, it has smart audio. If you like to use a typical SMA antenna, you can do that. And once you change out the props to these Jim Fan 3052s, this too flies like a scalded dog. I suspect if you have the right skills, you might be able to take this on the right track and compete with some 5-inchers out there, because I think Stu clocked this one at 115, maybe it was only 110 miles an hour, and there have been a few that have topped out in that same range here recently, but I just don't think they fly quite as well. So our 3-incher of the year. Okay, so I couldn't make my mind up, and I couldn't just go with one motor that is the 1100 series motor of the year. So I picked 3. I couldn't help myself. So as far as just flat out top end performance, I really like these iFlight Tachyon 1108 6000 kV. Running them on 3S on a 3-inch prop, these run really well. And I think if you're looking for a 3-inch prop that's not in the 1400 series category, this is a really good motor to take a look at. Comes with nice long leads, so you can put it on all sorts of different frames, and it flies pretty well. It's very efficient for something that's 1108. I was surprised by that when I put this quad together. My next 1100 series motor has got to be the RotorX 1107. Again, this is a T-style or a 2-screw mount prop. I'm running this on 2.5-inch props. You could very much push 3-inch props on this, but I really like it on 2.5-inch. And again, very good performer, very smooth. It's a premium motor. It's not cheap, but again, one of my favorite motors of the year. And my favorite motor for just overall flight performance and efficiency is this T-motor slash RacerStar 1106 6000 kV motor, the RT11. So pretty interesting that these two companies teamed up and created this motor. You might not have great feelings about the color scheme, or you could have very strong feelings about the color scheme, but they did something different. I applaud them on that. And overall performance, this is a really good motor, and it's pretty inexpensive as far as what you get from the motor. Again, running 2.5-inch props and running 3S. Next up, the 1400 series motor of the year. For me, it's these HypeTrain motors. These really surprised me. Again, this is a very smooth motor. It does have that one limitation, in that it's a 3-inch prop runner with a T-style, so you have 2 screws to mount it down, and they do have that different design where it has places for these specific RotorX props to kind of slide down beside the motor stems. But this motor performs very well on 4S. I really like the motor. I think it performs really good. It's very smooth throughout the incomplete throttle range. This is the recommended motor if you're building an Acrobrat, which is a RotorRiot frame. This is also the HypeTrain, so RotorRiot and RotorX teamed up to create this motor. So again, a premium motor, but a very good performer. If you're looking to build a 3-inch and you want that top-end 4S performance, this is a good one to look at. My FPV product of the year is the ImmersionRC RapidFire. This is a really good receiver. There are some compatibility issues with it, so that's something, if you're looking at this, you need to be aware of. It does appear as though they're working on taking care of those compatibility issues with software. Tony Cake, who seems to be the brains behind the receiver, has posted a few things on Facebook. They also might have a fix for the DVR dropping frames issue and just improving the overall DVR performance. So that's something to look forward to as well. But I have noticed in these goggles with this receiver that it's a very expensive receiver. There's just no two ways about it. And you have to have fat sharks to run it, but you don't have to have HDOs, as you see here. This receiver you just have less breakup. It just works great. Even in my environment, on machines that would have what seemingly are lower quality VTXs, the image improvement, the signal strength, it works really well. And the thing that we should be thankful, whether you're an owner of one of these or not, I suspect we're going to see a lot more people looking at how this works and making it work on their receivers in a similar fashion in order to improve FPV. That may be the greatest thing that ImmersionRC has brought, is a different way of looking at receiving the FPV signal and processing it into the goggle. So this, while rather expensive, is my receiver of the year. While I have the Fat Shark HDOs out here, I didn't do a goggle of the year because I really don't think there's a bunch of different categories in goggle of the year, and I didn't want to bring all these different categories and all these different goggles, and quite frankly, I've given most of them away. But most people who have the budget to afford it do have the HDOs. I shouldn't say it that way. A good many of the people who have the budget for the HDOs go the HDO route. Or if you're someone who flies very, very often and it's very, very important to you, you find a way to have the budget for the HDOs. They are nice goggles. I have really nothing to complain about. They took care of the low voltage issue that you'd see with some receivers. They still have some flaws. You know, as I mentioned, the aforementioned DVR, it has its own little quirks. I won't get into that very much because that can be speculative. But they did include a nicer faceplate. I have the same faceplate running on my HD3 goggles. This is a premium option that I bought after I bought the HD3 goggles, and I like these quite a bit because they're not foam, so they're not going to soak up the sweat, or it would be less likely to absorb the sweat, primarily because it's not foam. You know, have this sort of pleather material which should keep the sweat out of the foam, and therefore when you're flying in those hot summer months, they won't stink. But there's a number of other different goggles you can get that they're not going to make you a better pilot. That's one thing for sure. There's a very big convenience factor in this sort of goggle and the premium that you pay for it. Box goggles work very, very well for many people. There's no reason that you have to spend $600-700+ on HDOs and RapidFire. So that's why I don't have a goggle of the year. And I even kind of hedged against doing a receiver of the year because it is so expensive. I don't think for many people it's going to be worth the large expenditure to run these goggles and or this receiver. So this one might catch you by surprise, but this is my 1S charger of the year. I bought this off of Amazon, and as you see here, it's the HTRC. It's basically a rebrand. You might be very, very familiar with the shape. The previous iteration came out in red, but it didn't have high voltage capabilities. And I prefer this for one simple feature, that I could quickly get all my batteries charging. I have the EV Peak charger, and that one works very, very well as well. I haven't had any problems with it. But the convenience of having to cycle through each channel with the button presses, and then the fact that the button presses either don't register or they don't follow sequence. Like say if you're here and you want to go here, it might go from here to here, and then you've got to go there, 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 because it only cycles one way. And then have to press another button to start that channel charging, and then you have to go on to the next one. And these dials also make it much easier to change the rate at which you're charging. And that's why this product has been my 1S charger of the year. And I've only had this probably about 2 months, and you can probably see I've still got the plastic covering it. Oh, there we go. I know that probably made a lot of you feel better. But this is the HTC X4, excuse me, the HTRC X4. I don't think I did a review on this product, but it is a charger that I like quite a bit. And it plugs in. Only downside is I wish it had a switch. I wish all the chargers had a physical switch on them to turn them on and off, just because I like to leave them plugged in. My radio of the year, it's the Frsky Xlite. So I'm a pincher, and I made a couple of videos about this. I actually only made 2 videos, but initially there were some reviews that came out that talked about how this was only for a thumber because of its size and shape, and I disagree with that completely. I think at first, if you're a pincher and you switch from a box style to this sort of gamer pad control, that it will feel awkward, but I found that I was able to adjust. I just needed to give it a little time. I also found that I adjusted to switching my positions for my different switches, whether it's arm or mode or beeper or turtle mode. I have made the adjustment, and I place my hands on them about like this. I like this radio so much. So some of you might be familiar. iFlight DSMX, which is Spectrum, and so I bought this aftermarket X4, which does DSMX, so that I could switch all the stuff I was running on my Devo 10 over to this. That's how much I like this product. It just works great. I didn't buy the extension so you could run full 18650s. I'm fine with the 18500s. It just works, and I like it. I like how the buttons and the software interact with each other. I did buy some extended stick throws, and I put them on and I tried them out, and I just didn't find they made anything better for me, so I went back to the originals. So I've tinkered with this a bit. I just really like it, and I think for what, about 115 or 120 bucks, it's a really good radio, and you have the opportunity to go to a multi-module if you need to, say if you're flying some other protocol of receiver. My micro battery manufacturer of the year is GNB. The GNB brand has just, in the micro arena, has been time and time again the best battery that I have actually found. There may be batteries that measure in some mathematical formula better than one another, but when it comes to flight, which is how I like to test things, I like to go out and test and fly and see what I gravitate to, see which batteries I go to first, see which batteries I'm looking forward to flying, because I'll actually use a battery that isn't as good for my warm-up flights, and then when I think I'm warmed up, then I go to my GNB batteries. I will say that Race Day Quads also makes a very good battery, and I would say they are an honorable mention in the micro battery arena. These batteries over here are relatively new. This is a 2S300, this is a 1S300, and I think these are good batteries. I've been testing them out over the last few weeks. Although I don't have long-term use of these two particular batteries, I do think they're batteries you can look to buy, and I think you'll be pretty safe. These two batteries, I've had this series for quite a while, this blue and gray, which is what they originally were. For quite some time. The 3S's and 550 and 450, I've been flying them for well over a year, and then we have the 550s as well. I've been flying those for quite a while myself. Some of you may know that for a time I was a China Hobby Line pilot, and I had hoped that China Hobbyline would make improvements to their battery line, but unfortunately I didn't stay on the team long enough to find out if they made improvements in their batteries or not. I did try the Mini Stars, which seem to be the same brand that they're running. I think an honorable mention in the micro battery arena would be Race Day Quads. They also make a very good battery, very, very similar flight performance and flight efficiencies. It's another one you can look forward to, but when you ask me which batteries I recommend, it's generally going to be GNB. My FPV camera of the year is the Foxeer Falkor. This camera didn't come out that long ago, and I didn't do a review on it, but I've been flying it from time to time on that quad I previously showed you over here. This is one of those that I like to just fly around, and I really like how the image, the colorization, the performance as far as how it handles sun changes is actually very good. I won't say it's the best in any one of those categories, but it's a really good camera, and I really like the color representation. I feel that I don't know if it's accurate or I just like it the most, but this is a camera that if you're looking for a camera and what I might recommend, it would be the Foxeer Falkor, with an honorable mention going to the Caddx Turtle. Now, RunCam was first coming out in this category. Now, this is an FPV camera and an HD cam or HD recording camera, and it comes with an extra board, and that's why I didn't lead with this. This has been a very revolutionary product, and the fact that Caddx, Foxeer was supposed to release one, but I don't think I ever saw it. Caddx and RunCam have been going back and forth with both companies releasing 2 iterations just in this past year. So if you're looking for HD or high quality video in micros, I think this is the one to get. Now, this is version 1. Version 2, I believe the only change is a microphone. I haven't obtained one yet, but I have been tinkering with this quite a bit. I haven't done a review with this particular setup. I've been struggling to get my flight down slow and smooth, where that's what I was working on for this. I wanted to have something that was more visually interesting and less flight interesting. So when it comes to my FPV cameras of the year, it would be these 2 products here, the Foxeer Falkor and the Caddx Turtle. I've got so many products out here, I can't fit everything in the view. But to wrap up, if you're asking me what should you buy this year, it's going to be one of these products. The only thing that we don't see here, I believe, is the RapidFire ImmersionRC receiver and the Acrobat motors. I couldn't quite fit everything. The Acrobat is just right, well, you can almost see it. It's up there, but it's not quite in view. These are my favorite products of 2018. I think 2018 has been a great year. I'm very thankful that the progress that we've made has made flight so much more fun, and it's been so much easier, I think, whether you're a builder or you're just a pure pilot, whether you're looking to build something and use a specific motor, or you just want to find something that you can buy from a vendor and you can bind it up to your radio and go. I think these products have really enriched my personal experience with FPV this year, and that's why I bring them to you today. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in that section down below. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.